I'm tired of sugarcoating it. Like, we just have to come to the point where we realize, like, yeah, I believe that every human being is equal in the sight of God with innate dignity and value in the eternal sense, in the ultimate spiritual sense. And I believe that in one nation under God, that when it comes to legislation, when it comes to law, the judicial system, that there shouldn't be a certain class of citizens, that can get away with crimes, and another class that's, penalized, beyond what the punishment should be. So equality in the sight of God, equality under the law. Other than that, equality is a myth. It's a myth. They're not just equal outcomes, right? So we understand equity, equal outcomes. We understand the injustice in that, right? The idea that, well, everybody has to end in the same position. So if somebody, doesn't work very hard, or they started, 20 years later, and somebody else, they all have to end in the same place. And so that means we have to supplement. We have to do, distribution. We have to take from somebody who worked really hard and give it to somebody else, so that at the end of the day, everybody gets the same prize. Everybody, ends at the same position. So that's equity, equality of outcome. But here's the reality: in the world that God actually made, not your fantasy rainbow unicorn world, but the world that God actually made, equality of opportunity is just as much of a myth as equality of outcome. We do not have equal opportunity from birth, from the starting point, with everybody else on the planet. I've never had equal opportunity to play in the NBA as other individuals have. By virtue of the fact that, for whatever reason, God didn't make me, 6'7". He saw fit, according to His good pleasure and His sovereign will, to make me like this instead of.
But you are 6'1", to be fair.
I'm 6'1". Yeah, so it's not. It could be worse, right? It could be worse. But it's not NBA status, and so we don't have equal opportunity. We don't have the people across the planet don't have equal intelligence. They don't have equal physical speed, agility, height. We don't have equal health. I mean, some people are born with, sadly, with like lifelong life conditions that they're going to be at a disadvantage over the course of their entire life. So equality of outcome, equity is certainly not only a myth, but unjust, but then also equality of opportunity is a myth. It doesn't exist. God made a world that includes hierarchy. It includes hierarchy. And every time we hear that word, we think, we just immediately associate it with injustice. What makes hierarchy unjust is when those at the top are behaving in such a way that they're exploiting those below. When they're behaving in a way that is wicked, then that is unjust. But there's nothing unjust about God, the potter, He's the potter, reserving the right to make out of the same lump of clay some people. Obviously Romans 9 is speaking about those who are salvation, the redeemed versus the reprobate. He makes some for noble purposes and some for common use. But that same potter also, in a temporal sense, it is also his prerogative. It's his right to make some people with 150 IQ and some people with 120, and then some people with 80, and then some people, sadly, the worst is with 100. The quintessential midwit. Who's honestly, if you have 80 IQ, you are probably far less of a detriment to society than the person with the 100. I mean,
with a master's degree, 100 IQ,
100 IQ. That guy,
Subaru.
And a Subaru. Sorry, Michael, but that guy is a terror on the world. That is the quintessential midwit who makes everything terrible, right? But my point is, we're not equal.
Because he thinks he knows more. This has been studied. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. There's a lot of people, the distribution of IQ, most people are in the middle, and it's a big temptation to think you know more, to be proud, to be arrogant, I know what we should do. And a lot of progressives, that's generally the area they fall. They are relatively educated, they're relatively intelligent, but they think themselves wiser than they are, and they do stupid things.